Ed, whenever you're ready, take your time.
The following is the agenda for the regular Borough Council meeting of the Borough of Compton Lakes Mayor and Council and Municipal Corporation, the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at, it's going to begin at 7:40
7:40, I guess, yeah.
on June 12th in the Municipal Building, 25 Lennox Avenue, Compton Lakes, consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act. The meeting will be open for public comments and shall be in accordance with the terms and conditions of the Borough Municipal Code and bylaws.
Please stand for a flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bless this mayor and council as they deliberate on the best of Compton Lakes. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all, have requested and paid for same, and published in Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Skelly.
Here.
Council President Dewan.
Here.
Councilman Cruz.
Here.
Councilman Ken.
Here.
Councilwoman Hilda. Here. Councilwoman Polidori.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney David Rutenberg and our Borough Administrator Michael Colette.
All right, presentations and updates. Before I get to the nomination, I just want to congratulate our baseball team for winning the state championships. It was a very well-deserved game. We will be recognizing the team, the whole team, next meeting. Every player will hopefully be down here. It was just tough to put together in a day, so we're going to do it in 2 weeks. So congratulations to them, well-deserved guys. You did a great job. I also have a motion to approve nominations of Borough Prosecutor, Blaudraya Petresky of Petresky Law Offices for a term from July 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. Can I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman Cruz, roll call, please.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Dewan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ken.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hilda. Yes. Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments? So moved. Council President Blind, Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Captain Shoreway, Pine Street. Here again about the garbage. But first I'd like to say that Michael has done an unbelievable job. It's improved so much from what it was. But of course, we still have, repeat offenders. And so I do have some pictures I'll share. I gave some to Michael, but I'll share them with you. This is to Liz. Thank you, Liz. But I wanted to get back to, gosh, I don't know, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. You weren't here, Mayor Sarah, last meeting that I came to, but originally I had brought up an idea of hiring a part-time retiree, just pay me, hourly salary, no benefits or anything, to take care of, just messes, I ride through town every morning on my way to work. There's bottles, there's paper, there's garbage, and it would be someone that would just go through town and, pick up, sweep up, if there's, a few small bags of garbage on the street, throw them in a little truck, whatever. And so I've been bringing that up for, gotta be close to a year, and I haven't got any answer on, I know one time you thought that it could be a conflict with the union. So I would just like to maybe, move forward with that and see what, if there's any thoughts on, doing that. But, like I said, it's come a long way, but there's still a lot to do as far as garbage, because there's just these people that I've gone into businesses and, Salida, I think it is, the restaurant down there, there's constant garbage out there. There's airplane liquor bottles. It's just shabby. The garbage can out in front of Nikki G's is just one of the garbage cans that on my pictures. It's just constantly a mess, and if we hired someone part-time, they could get sweep out. Our DPW is totally, they've got enough to do. So this would just be somebody extra, to just clean up and, I know that they do have someone that comes through and sweeps up once in a while, but I just don't think it's enough. It still looks very shabby to me, so.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Ron Donko, Riverdale Boulevard, Pompey. Just something quick, I was on the river again. There's a large tree down, it's over 2 foot. It's on the Pompton Lakes embankment. It goes all the way across to the Pequannock embankment. It's right at water level. I don't know how much is underwater, but it's right at water level now. It's going to be a bad situation of that one. It's going to cause a problem.
And where is that? I'm sorry.
It's on the eastbound section, about 150, 200 feet east of the north-south river where it bends, just below the bend,
Just below the bend.
about
Okay.
200 feet.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Just step up.
How we doing today? George Vanderhook. My truck got damaged in the recycling center. Just refused to take care of it. I mean, it seems funny that you're sitting in this building that's used to penalize American citizens daily for their little infractions in traffic, and yet it's all bailed out on my truck. What do I do about it? I'm not gonna take it from an insurance company, the mayor, or a politician. I want it in front of a judge.
Okay, I'll answer your question. Thanks. No, I'll answer at the end. Thank you. Anyone else? Please step up. Is that your hand?
Ann Tassinelli, 5 Lambert Street. Good evening, everybody. I've come here this evening for one reason, and that's to take the time to commend the man who has been a Shade Tree Commissioner, a co-leader, along with myself, who does more on this commission, which I'm talking the Pumpkin Lake Shade Tree Commission, than all of us put together. It seems as though he doesn't get the kind of necessary recognition for this. And I had learned that someone on this council had stated that he didn't know what Randy does. Well, I'll tell you now. I would need an entire hour to run down everything that Randy has done in the 18 years that he has been a member of the Shade Tree Commission as a volunteer. Don't get me wrong, the other commissioners work hard as well, Pete, Madeline, and Alexa for that matter, and myself. But none of us are out there on the street at a moment's notice like Randy is, to check out a complaint that a resident may have, or to just do a field survey on the condition of trees in order to reassure the people who run this town and the residents who own their homes that the borough tree in front of their property is safe enough to remain there. And if it is not, it will be taken down. I will now read something that another one of our commissioners has written on behalf of Randy. However, she was unable to attend tonight. It starts off with, "A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they will never sit in." We are incredibly fortunate to have Randy, our dedicated chairperson for the Shade Tree Commission, who embodies this wise saying. Randy has been involved with the Shade Tree Commission for over 18 years, and his passion for our community's green spaces is unparalleled. Even in his retirement, Randy spends up to 50 hours a month working on Shade Tree, ensuring our town stays beautiful and green. From planting countless trees to overseeing various environmental projects, Randy's tireless efforts have made a lasting impact on our community. His dedication not only beautifies our surroundings, but also creates a legacy of growth and sustainability for future generations. Thank you to Randy for his incredible commitment and hard work. Your contributions do not go unnoticed by most of those in our community, and our community is forever grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Anyone else from the public?
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. Pretty tough to follow that up. But I just, at the May 8th meeting of the council and the May 22nd meeting of the council, it was actually, I hate to say it, but it was actually your comments, Mr. Mayor, that you didn't, whether it was sarcastic or whatever, but words matter. Words bring people up, words bring people down. And your words brought me down that night. And your words brought me down all month. That in my retirement, I give my heart and soul to our town, to the people in our town. I've been yelled at quite a few times that I do way too much. I don't know when to stop. I enjoy what you, Mayor, and the council have let me do with planting trees and doing the removals and doing the prunings. Tom Yeoman is our road super for Downs Tree Service. He had said that out of all the towns that he works with, everybody that does removals and prunings are all paid employees of the boroughs. The only one that he does work for, and is not a paid employee, is the town of Pompton Lake. It's me. And I still enjoy it. I come from a construction background. You had made a comment that you didn't know anybody that would back me up. And I spent 2 hours today writing a list, but I'm not going to bore you with the list because everybody up there knows and people in town know my commitment to the town. And it's unfortunate that night at that meeting, you said those words. And that's okay. You don't have to apologize if you don't want to, but words do affect people. Maybe I'm getting soft at over 70 years old, but that's the way things go. But I don't want to keep going. Thank you, Ann, for what you said. And it bothered me so much that I was going to step down from Shade Tree Commission. But I still enjoy. I just met a resident today that brought me back up, that I enjoy talking with. So what I want to say to you, Mr. Mayor, is come over to my house. I'll buy you a shot and a beer. We can sit on the back porch, look at the garden, and talk about it, So that's my invitation to you.
I don't get invited.
Mr. Cruz, you can come too, In fact, the whole council can come over. We'll make burgers and we'll have a good time looking at the garden. But I'm a green thumb, I've always been, so every tree bothers me in town. If I lose a tree because of a deer or anything, that's where my heart is. So you can come over in the middle of August. That's when the 130 tomato plants that I planted will be putting out tomatoes and we can have some burgers. You're welcome to. Thanks very much.
Yep. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Councilwoman Polidori, Council President Devine. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Kathy, thank you for at least acknowledging we're making a little progress. We are trying, and we've spent a lot of time and energy. Between Mike has done a great job in pushing a lot what has to be done there. There's still work that has to be done. We're playing with ideas. Mike, did we ever get back from the union about if they had an issue with us hiring someone?
We'll talk about it offline, but we could have a potential solution.
Okay, so there's still some situation with the union maybe giving us some trouble, but we'll find out more about that certainly to move forward. But we're at least moving in the right direction. I get complaints constantly about, I want a garbage can back, I don't want the garbage can. I know, I can tell you, I've been in a lot of businesses and they mentioned that you've come in and told them the way to do things, which is great, that you're taking that upon yourself to do that. But you've also learned that you tell them that and then they still don't do it either, right? So it's a fight and it's just a continued fight, but thank you for handling that. Well, Mr. Dunkos, we'll take a look at that tree and see what we can do to help. We'll get that out of there.
Yep.
George, I feel for you 100% on this, and I agree with you 100%, and our administrator will tell you, I've called and said, I don't understand why the insurance company is saying this. Do we have any more information on this?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Vanderhook, if you could stop by my office either tomorrow or Friday, and we'll talk about a potential solution. Right here. Not on me, but thank you.
Just come in and you go make a right, and you go right to his office, right there.
Michael.
Yeah, but, I'm aware of the situation, and it has to be addressed, and it has to be fixed. I agree with you. Okay, I can't have you talk, but yeah.
The town can't fix the situation, what they did, they put a phone in front of it. One of these days it's gonna be wrong, but that's soon.
All right, thank you. I'm going to tie both of these together. First of all, the Shade Tree Commission, in general, does a great job. Yes, you identified Mr. Hinton as one of the outstanding people, but you all do an outstanding job on that commission, and you've always done an outstanding job. There's never been an issue with what you're doing. Mr. Hinton, you're bringing up statements I made in a sarcastic way, which you've made many sarcastic remarks to me, and my feelings got hurt, I guess, and I should make a whole stink about the things you said. But I don't need to go there, because I know you don't mean it when you say it, but yet you're going to come up here on a podium and make a statement about that. So it goes both ways about statements. You've mentioned things about my salary and many things. Okay, there's no talking. No, the facts you got were wrong, okay? At the end of the day, you do a wonderful job for the Shade Tree Commission. There's no question in my mind. The residents tell me that all the time. We have no issue with that, and I have no issue with you, to be honest. You know, for many years, we did things together and did some other projects together. I'm sorry if your feelings got hurt, but my feelings get hurt too sometimes by the things you say. And of course, going back to the Shade Tree Commission, there in no way, shape, or form do we ever feel that the Shade Tree is lacking in anything they do. You're on top of everything. Matter of fact, today, and I was told to tell you this, Mr. Hinton, a friend of mine who has the one blooming tree that you put in told me to tell you we have that blooming tree. It's a beautiful tree that's been put in front of my house, and I just wanted to thank everybody for putting that tree there. So that's where we are with that. Okay. Motion to approve the following minutes.
So moved.
Gotta read them first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I thought it was a one-liner, right?
Regular meeting minutes, May 22nd. Closed session meeting minutes, May 22nd.
Now you may go.
So moved.
Councilman Cruz.
Second.
Council President Devine. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Bills and claims, motion to approve the following bill list as stated below.
Motion.
Councilman Devine, Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Resolutions, anybody need anything pulled out?
I do.
Which one?
244, 252.
244, 252,
And 258.
and 258.
Oh, that's safe, I'm sorry.
Well, you were gonna mention that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the same reason?
Yes,
Okay.
same reason.
Okay.
258.
No, 258, we don't have to pull. Do we have to pull it?
You
Abstain.
want to do separate?
Yes.
Separate.
Oh, you want to do
Yes,
separate?
in order to give, to
Yes,
the
I
council
understand.
people the opportunity to
Okay.
abstain.
Okay, besides those, go ahead, Liz. So it's 244, 252.
Alrighty, whereas the mayor and borough council of the borough of Compton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Compton Lakes does desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda. Now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 24-239 through 24-259, we're going to quote 24-244, 24-252, and 24-258 for separate action.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Motion.
Who was that? Motion, Councilwoman Polidori. Have a second? Councilwoman Kilburg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, resolution 24-244.
Approving a chapter 159 resolution pursuant to state statute providing for the insertion of items of revenue in the 2024 budget. Local recreation improvement grant, $60,000.
Okay, so I know we applied for another grant for this. Like the other grants, is this one also not portable? Because we've waited a considerable amount of time for a follow-up from the engineer as to what this actually looks like now. and we keep accumulating grant funds for a project that actually has the possibility of not moving forward as originally implemented. Is this also portable? And perhaps going forward, we should cease requesting money for that project and start shifting it towards the ones that we know actually can be executed.
Thank you, Councilwoman. So no, this is dedicated to the Willow Field Improvements Project. It's a use it or lose it situation, and I would advise that any future applications maybe be on hold until we have a determination on the project. However, any other applicable applications that we may submit are at least not available until the fall.
Okay,
So we should have some time to make a determination.
and then perhaps we can start looking at diverting some of those applications to Hirschfield.
Correct.
Okay.
252, Liz?
Do you want to go
Do we
over
have to
to
vote on
44?
I was gonna do them together, but you wanna do them individually? Okay,
Okay, whatever you want.
yeah, we'll do them both together.
Award contract to Space Farms for deer carcass removal and disposal.
Question?
So we talked about this. Did you ever look into whether or not this is something that can be done by the DPW? We pay them to come out here, and then sometimes it takes days, and there's been times in the summer where a deer will lay in front of a building or a house 4 days, and we've always been told that we can't touch them, but I have heard from departments of public works in other municipalities that perhaps they can be moved internally.
Thank you. So this resolution is a result of a requirement under the local public contracts law. So this is a service that we already have for the year, and we already signed an agreement in the beginning of the year. So we're just dotting the i's and crossing the t's with regards to the agreement. However, Dan O'Rourke and I are looking into alternative solutions. It's my understanding in speaking with the health officer and with the DPW that we may need some sort of freezer. If we're doing it in-house, as bad as it sounds, I believe that you have to put the deer in a freezer before it's transferred wherever it goes. So we're working it out, and we're hoping to find a financially beneficial solution.
If it is financially beneficial to invest in that, then maybe part of the new DPW plan can include
Correct.
that. Okay, thank you.
It's actually
You're
state law that if you call the town, it's actually a requirement that the police remove it.
So
It's actually under state law that the police remove it.
it's interesting
deer
that you say that
carcasses from
because I had, and perhaps we can look into that, because I had, actually, the police had to end the life of one of them on my front lawn in front of us. And then it sat there for 3 days because we were told they couldn't touch it.
Yeah, by state
So it
law,
bled into the snow
yeah,
for
if you
3 days
call,
and laid there until Space
technically,
Force
we're
came.
under obligation and that it's the police department function.
Yeah, but
Right.
are they the ones to remove it?
Yes. It
Where
is
do they
state
put it?
use, like, it very, I don't know. It just says, it doesn't say,
okay with
it
this,
doesn't
because they're
say,
laying
it
on the
just says that,
sidewalk
like,
now.
if a deer dies in your yard and you call the town, the police are the
I
responsible.
can tell you
party
the
to
police
remove
have
it.
never removed a deer.
No,
I'm
and
telling
when
you,
they
it's
shot
state
it
law.
on the lawn, I said, are you going to take it away with you? And he said, no, it will stay here. And I said, but it's bleeding into the snow and my children live here, and it stayed there for 3 days.
We're also looking into maybe some other companies that can provide a faster solution.
Faster.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a problem with the speed on that. Okay, resolutions, those two resolutions, Liz.
So you want a motion?
Yeah, can I have a motion for resolution 24-244 and 24-252? Councilwoman Kilberg,
We already signed it. Okay.
need a second? Second. Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, 258, why don't you explain what you want?
Authorize hire a summer camp.
We pulled this because we have 2 council members who have children who will be summer hires, and so we want to give them an opportunity to abstain from the bill.
Okay. So can I have a motion for resolution 24-258?
So moved.
Motion.
Council President Devine,
Second.
Councilwoman Polidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstains?
Abstain?
2 abstains, Councilman Bennett and Councilman Cruz. Okay? Okay, first readings. No, second readings, I'm sorry.
No, these are first.
Introduction.
Oh,
Ordinance will be presented for second reading and final adoption on June 26th. Ordinance 2426, amending Chapter 7, Section 7-43-1, handicap parking on streets of municipal code of the Borough of Condon Lakes to update the description of the Lincoln Avenue parking lot.
Motion to approve ordinance 2426 for introduction.
So moved.
Council President Devine,
Second.
Councilwoman Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Roll call, please.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Kilburn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Ordinance 24-7, amending revised general ordinances of the Borough of Compton Lakes and regulating the removal, protection, and replacement of trees located on private property.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-27 for introduction.
Motion.
Councilman Benning,
Second.
Council President Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kilburn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Ordinance 24-28, amending Chapter 9 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Compton Lakes, regulating the planting of bamboo within the borough.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-28 for introduction.
Motion.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Second.
Council President Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kilburn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Ordinance 24-29, an ordinance of the Borough of Compton Lakes, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, vacating a portion of the right-of-way designated as Locust Street in the Borough of Compton Lakes between Laura Street and Grove Street.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-29 for introduction.
So moved.
Second.
Council President Devine, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hilbert.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Second.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Ordinance 24-30, ordinance authorizing tax exemption and payment in lieu of taxes in connection with the redevelopment plan for block 7400, lot 11, and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement for payment in lieu of taxes with 525 Wanacue Ave Associates Urban Renewal LLC pursuant to state statute.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-30 for introduction.
So moved.
Council President Devine,
Second.
Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Can we talk about this one?
Can I,
Can we talk about it in first reading?
We are.
Okay.
We are from the,
Yep.
the second. There can be discussion.
I just wanted to know why this is being done now. Shouldn't this have been done already?
Yeah,
It should have been.
It should have, and it was overlooked by somebody.
So this is from, what, 2021, is that?
It originated in 2022, and it came to my attention that the pilot and financial agreement were never executed. So we worked with our borough attorney to get the draft finalized. There was questions on the draft, which is why it got held up, but we've since resolved that, and as a formality, we need to adopt this considering the structure is complete.
So are they not paying yet? Is that-
They didn't get their CO yet, so they're not even eligible to start paying.
So so there was adjustments to a draft. Has anyone that's voting on this seen the final issue that we're approving?
Well, it was provided in the packet, if you have any questions, but there were no major modifications made. It was minor grammatical changes.
I saw the ordinance. I didn't see the pilot agreement.
Yeah, it was in the packet.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look for it separately so we have time to review it before we,
Before we adopt it, we could certainly address questions.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, did I do a motion? Motion?
Yes.
I did, okay, roll call, please.
Roll call.
Yep.
Councilwoman Kilburn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Under my report, like I said, congratulations to our baseball team, pretty big accomplishment for a group that has never done that before. Pompton Lake sports is always strong, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot of it in the future. I attended a meeting with the mayor of Wanacue and the mayor of Riverdale and our administrator over at Tilcon to show us the progress they've made in the road that they're building between Riverdale and Wanacue, which close the road for the trucks to drive through in Pompton Lakes. It's a pretty impressive road that they've built. It's probably an 8-lane highway, and it goes straight up for about 100 feet. So they blow out the mountain 100 feet on both sides, and this road is going to come out on Burger King side in Wanacue, and then the traffic would be driving through the mountain and getting right on the highway there. So it would eliminate most of the truck traffic here in Pompton Lakes, which is a great thing. That's a big deal. They're hoping to have it done in the next year. They've got about, I guess, half of it done. And so the mayor of Wanacue and the mayor of Riverdale were part of the discussion on how the traffic will move once that's done. But that's good news for us. I attended a follow-up meeting on the Dawes Highway Bridge to explain why we really can't raise the bridge, and we tried to push it with the county and the state, but our own expert that we hired suggested that it really can't be done that way. We were hoping that we could get more water to flow under there, but unfortunately we can't, and that was just to explain that. We had some meetings on the parking meters that we had talked about a little bit before. You know, we will be doing parking meters in the Pond Hall with kiosks, and I think Michael might address this a little bit more in his report. Once that's working, that'll pick up permits for the students, for the businesses, for the apartments, and then individual parking too. So we are going to try to keep the meters on the street right now, but eventually that might even change in the future. But these will be kiosks that'll go in the pond hole in the back. We're working with 2 companies right now that hopefully can put it all together for us. We actually bought the kiosks already, and we're ready to go. We had a meeting with some of us up here about Carlo Field. Hopefully that is approved and the press box will be finished there, and we can move on from there. And I think that is my report. Oh, I have a motion, hold on. Motion to appoint Eric Devine as liaison Class 3 member of the Pompton Lakes Planning Board on expired term to December 31st, 2024.
Second.
Councilwoman Polidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? I made the motion.
I second it.
Council President Devine.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, tonight we had a series of police interviews for promotions. I won't speak on them individually, but I will say in large, what stood out is how excellent our police force is. We had a lot of strong candidates for a limited number of positions, and as I pointed out, even for one of them, and I noticed it for all of them, you know, for some of us, we interviewed when they came on, we interviewed from their last position. So it's a real tribute to see these individuals race through the ranks, be in a strong position for promotion, although obviously not all of them will get it. But it is an important factor, and they had phenomenal answers. They really do care about the community. So I think I'm like, looking back and the decisions that we made years ago and the decisions that we're going to make today, I feel really good about where our police department is and continues to go for the future. And I just wanted to let the residents know we get to see that a little bit behind the scenes, obviously, and it's showing up in our day-to-day community as well. A couple weeks ago, we had the Memorial Day service and parade, and I know a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about the parade, and there's hot dogs at the end of the DFW, which is phenomenal. But you know, again, it's actually very heartening to see how many people show up for the service itself. That is really what Memorial Day is about. It's recognizing the fallen men and women of Pompton Lakes, of our nation, people that have served and died in foreign wars in service to our country. So it's great that we continue to do this. Pompton Lakes continues to hold that tradition, and it continues to be important. And it was a great day for a parade. It was a phenomenal day, probably the most people I've seen along the parade route in a while. And it's good to see people show up for that as well. So everybody who made that happen, everybody who marched in the parade, all the volunteers at VFW who held the barbecue at the end, you know, thank you to all of us, because it is an important aspect of our community as well. Last week, I attended the annual New Jersey Planning and Redevelopment Conference. I won't go into everything that I sat in on, but a lot of things that we are discussing here are hot topics in the state of New Jersey. Affordable housing is the next round of affordable housing is the big thing. We heard from the planner, Darlene Green, from Colliers Engineering. It is a major topic of conversation about how municipalities are going to be dealing with these numbers that they don't even have yet. So I think there's going to be a lot of trial and error, because This is just a brand-new iteration. Fortunately, we're not doing it in the courts, at least not at this point. But I know there's opposition. There's people that are like, this is a good step. At least we're not doing it in the courts. That's what I know. As far as redevelopment goes, I attended a couple sessions of redevelopment. And one of the big takeaways I did, and I actually reached out to Michael on this, and I wanted to bring it to the council's attention. As we previously talked about, we have Phoenix Advisors on contract for us, and one of the things that they're doing now is that they're reviewing financials and redevelopment agreements for the money that we're supposed to get as part of the pilot. And one of the things that we also have to utilize them for is to review financials and to review the redevelopment agreement to identify the financial benefits of the pilot and also the necessity of the pilot. One of the things that does is say, and again, we go back to something that Council President Terry Riker used to bring up a lot, is the pilot is but for. If this project would not happen if it wasn't for the existence of the pilot. And Phoenix Advisors, what they would do ahead of time is say, there is a financial necessity for this pilot, and it needs to be 30 years, it needs to be 15 years, it's 11% pilot, growing to 13, whatever it is. We have that tool in our toolbox now that we should really make sure we use, and I think it's important not just for us to make a decision on the council, but also to have that backing and provide a little bit of credibility to our residents to say, we have looked at this a number of ways. We're not just looking at it from site plan review. We're not just doing this to effectuate redevelopment, but there is a real tangible financial benefit to Pompton Lakes, and here are the numbers that we can hold up to say that. So again, I think it's something that going forward, we have to make sure that we are including in all our reviews, everything. And again, that's the cost of doing business for developers. They walk into a town, they expect that this Phoenix Advisors is going to be part of the escrow payment. So it's not like it's falling back on our taxpayers to take that extra step, but we are ensuring that we are being smart about what we're handing out as far as pilots go. And then lastly, I just wanted to bring up, which was a phenomenal discussion. They actually held the governor's candidate roundtable, and they discussed a lot of these things. Climate change, public transportation, affordable housing, redevelopment, all of these things. It was Assemblyman John Bramnick, it was Mayor Ras Baraka, it was formerly Assemblyman Jack Chittarelli, and Mayor Scott Fulop. It was very interesting to hear everybody's different perspectives of where they came from, what their visions are. I'm biased. I thought Jack Chittarelli was the most informed and actually most engaged and most knowledgeable of all the candidates, but it was a really good discussion. And that concludes my report, man.
Thank you. It's funny you mentioned that Congressman Pasquarello, who came to our parade, did mention, he said it's nice to see so many people here at the ceremony part of this. So, that you noticed that and he noticed that's a nice thing to see. Councilman Cruz.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Board of Education meeting on June 4th and June 11th. I'm going to speak more about the June 11th meeting because it was a full house. Paul Amoroso, Superintendent of Schools, recognized the Pompton Lakes High School baseball team, obviously for their Group 1 championship. If you did not get a chance to see it in person, they did live stream it, and I will tell you, the athleticism by our boys was amazing. We actually won in 5 innings because we mercied Point Pleasant. So that was amazing. I was jumping over joy, and you heard the buses and obviously the fire department as well. I also want to wish Owen Keating the best of luck. He's competing for a Section 1 title in pole vault, which I believe is coming up with the next week or so. The other reason why the Board of Education office was packed, it was due to the senior trip. There were a few hiccups along the way over the weekend. It's a very long story, but the district is working out now, obviously, to have some things in place for next year, so we don't have this problem again this year. Ultimately, all the students were fine. They did have a great time. They came back and they had nothing but wonderful stories to bring up during the meeting. Obviously, there was some concerns from parents, but the Board of Ed is going to address those concerns, obviously, going into next year's trip for the next senior team. Hopefully, everything will go well, and we won't lose, obviously, this one trip that the seniors get every year upon graduation. The Board of Education approved the new science program for the high school, paid for by a $35,000 grant. This will cover training materials, advanced placement exams, and this is going to be obviously for the teachers and students. I also want to bring up, this is excellent. So every year, the Board of Education has to provide the New Jersey State Department of Education their HIB report, which is harassment, intimidation, and bullying. And the max grade you can get is 78. So I just want to read off some of the point scores that we got across all the schools. So for Lenox School, they got a 76 out of 78. Absolutely amazing. Lincoln Elementary School, 76 out of 78. Lakeside Middle School, 75 out of 78, and the high school, 72 out of 78. So obviously, we have a wonderful school district. We have wonderful teachers. Our students, obviously, it's good to hear that they're respecting each other, and it definitely reflects in this report that they send yearly. The next board meeting is going to be July, so remember, folks, there's only one meeting in July and one meeting in August, July 8th and August 13th. And that'll do it for my report, Mayor.
And thank you for reminding me. Liz, could you reach out to the IT? We still have the high school money for the budget running in circulation, you know, the request for the vote. That was 4 months ago, so I think we could pull that off.
For what?
Well, the referendum.
Channel 77?
Yeah, there's still talk about the referendum on our channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well past that. Thank you, Bobby. Councilwoman Kilburg. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Kent.
Oh, okay, thank you, Mayor. I also can't wait to honor the baseball team, the boys' baseball team on their win. That's a tremendous win, and we also honored the football team one year, and then the soccer team, or I think the football team twice, and the soccer team twice. So we have an amazing school system. We have amazing kids in our school system, and we have an amazing town. So it reflects on every aspect of that. I met with the AquaClear company that treats Pompton Lakes and Twin Lakes, and he was out a couple weeks ago, and he does an evaluation, and that evaluation will be coming soon, but the lakes look pretty good. And we did talk a little bit about the hazardous algae bloom. If it ever comes, we're ready for it, so we're not worrying about that too much. I attended the Pompton Lake High School Scholarship Award Ceremony. It's a beautiful ceremony. There are many people who have loved ones who've passed that honor the students coming in, or I mean, not coming in, but leaving the school to go to college or other vocations, and they do give them a very nice scholarship. Terry Riker Scholarship, was very fortunate to mention that. Terry was a councilwoman here, and she was very involved with the Board of Education at the time, and she gave a very generous scholarship. I also met with the Shade Tree Commission, and they are in the process of pruning, removing, and planting of new trees. They are also the watchdogs of those trees that are planted in the new season, which need care within the first year. And I want to thank our administrator, Michael, for taking a very long memo that I wrote to him, and he answered every question. And we are going to make sure that any new trees that are planted will be watered properly, because that's what we pay for. People that do not have a green thumb must understand that if you don't give a tree a lot of water right from the beginning, it will not be viable. So we spend a lot of money of taxpayer dollars, grants, and we do appreciate that, and we do want the trees to flourish. So, Michael, I want to thank you very much for contacting the landscapers and getting them moving on that. I appreciate that. I also signed the borough bills, and I have, just for full disclosure, I was elected to the Pompton Lakes Women's Club, and I will be their upcoming president starting July 1st. And I'm very honored to have that title and to represent amazing, wonderful ladies who care and advocate for so many charities, both in Pompton Lakes, in the county, and throughout the state of New Jersey. I want to thank Ms. Shortway for coming about the garbage. I have to tell you, I was at Willowbrook today, and I was appalled at the garbage in Willowbrook on the sidewalks. I was appalled. There were shoes, it looks like somebody slept there, and nobody touched it. I don't know what's going on, but we need a whole entire education program about, leaving your garbage on the sidewalks. It's not just Pompton Lakes, unfortunately. I just also want to say that our police force we're going to be doing some changes in hiring, and I'm very, very proud of our policemen and our force, and the people that we're hiring and promoting are very well versed in what they do, and I'm very happy to support that. Okay. And I just want to thank our chairwoman from the Shade Tree Commission for a beautiful statement. And we do have, and Randy, you do a great job. And I hope that we all can sit down and have a couple tomato sandwiches with cheese, and I'll bring the wine if you want, okay? I'm ready to come. I'm going to thank you very much. And that is my report.
Thank you. Maria, I might have some good news for you, in that the mayor of Oakland called me to thank me for helping him with getting rid of the cement plant, and I put in his ear about treating the lake on that side.
Yes.
And he said, well, that's maybe a discussion we can talk about. So
Oh.
with maybe with a little help from Michael and a little push from our side,
Yeah.
maybe we can get them to start treating the Oakland side of the lake, which
Yeah,
would be
because that
wonderful.
would help us tremendously.
It would. So that, we'll see what happens there.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Okay, first I'd like to make a motion to approve a request of Susan Davis and surrounding neighbors to host a block party on Broadway on Saturday, August 17th, 2024, from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Police, fire, first aid to be notified.
Can I have Council President Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
A motion to approve the request for Pompton Lakes Elks Lodge 1895 to hang a banner across the intersection of Hamburg Turnpike and Center Street for the Elks Carnival held on August 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th of 2024. Banner to be installed on August 5th, 2024, and removed on August 26th, 2024.
Can I have a second? Councilwoman Polidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
I attended the Flood Advisory Board meeting. I attended the Memorial Day Parade. It started with a very moving service. He makes me cry every year. It really is touching, and I think more people should go. And then it ended with refreshments, which was very nice, and I thank Bob McGrady for putting the whole thing together every year. I volunteered at the Elks Class tonight, and all proceeds went to support veterans. I attended the Juicy Deli grand opening. Congratulations and best of luck. I attended the scholarship award ceremony at the high school, and congratulations to all the scholarship recipients. I attended the library board meeting, and I attended a Pompton Day meeting, and congratulations to the Pompton Lakes baseball team. And I do have a few things that we have a dime to donate for the Smoke Shack, June 13th, from open to close, and the proceeds go to the Pompton Day event, so if anyone's interested. And then there will be another one at Monica's on June 18th from open to close. Paddle boats, kayak rentals, there's ping pong and cornhole from Memorial Day to Labor Day at Lakeside. There's a concert on Friday, June 21st from 7 to 9, the 3M Band on the library lawn. We are looking for Pompton Day sponsors, and you can reach out at pomptonday@yahoo.com. Let's see. Volleyball, the Pompton Lakes Rec Volleyball Adults. It's going to be Monday, July 8th through August 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Hirschfield Park. And then we have pickleball, which seems to be the favorite. Monday, July 8th through August 19th. Wednesday, July 10th through August 21st, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that's it.
And we did line a second court for pickleball now, so that is exciting news. People were using it already. That's your report?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Polidori.
Thank you. So a few shout outs. I want to echo the sentiments of everyone else up here and congratulating the high school varsity baseball team. They did a great job. Congratulations. Group 1 state championship. I also want to give a shout out to our police department for participating in the 41st annual law enforcement torch run to benefit Special Olympics, something they do every year. I was told they had even more participants this year than normal, so thank you to them for doing that. Memorial Day Parade was, again, amazing. Bob McGrady does an outstanding job. He really organizes a fabulous parade, and the generosity of the VFW to host the barbecue for everyone in the town after and provide refreshments is always outstanding. It's really nice to see everyone go back there, and we had perfect weather. I also participated in the VFW Cornhole Tournament. They have an annual fundraising event, which I'll circle back to in a minute, but it was nice to see the turnout this year was also higher than normal. I volunteered to serve at the Elks Pasta Night. They were running a dinner this month was for benefit to proceed local veterans organizations. So it was an honor to be able to help with that. Also attended the Juicy Deli grand opening. Amazing assortment of fresh juices and a pretty delicious sandwich. So I wish them luck. I had suggested that perhaps they put some type of a student special out to take advantage of the fact that our children had open lunch because the sandwich was really good. So I brought one home for my son. Hopefully they do well and are with us for a long time. And last night, to end our year and segue into the new year under Councilwoman and new Women's Club President Maria Kent, about 15 women from the Women's Club got together for dinner at the generosity of one of our local business owners at Ravaz. They own some businesses in town also, and he assured us when we got there that we would certainly not leave hungry, and we did not. It was amazing. So if you have not been there, it is outstanding. And that family, they happen to be tremendous partners of a lot of our organizations in town. If you need anything for a school or a fundraiser, they never shy away from their generosity in helping support everything they can. So clearly ate a lot in the last 2 weeks. Back to the VFW fundraising. So I'm going to ask for a nod to move forward on this because it's been dragged on for 3 years now since I probably had initially brought this to the council. The Flags for Heroes. I've been in touch with Bob McGrady. Bob McGrady did organize a connection for Michael and I to a gentleman that actually facilitates the program and has done it for Kinnelon, Butler, Bloomingdale, a lot of the local towns. He is a veteran. He does not charge for this. It's something he's very passionate about. He works very closely with the VFWs. They do everything. It's $195 all in, everything just shy of it being mounted to the pole. So here is where we've made some developments on this to alleviate the burden from the town and hopefully be able to say that it's okay to move forward at the very least with fundraising efforts because we're planning on doing this from Memorial Day to Veterans Day, so it's a little late this year. So after a few conversations with the individual from Flags for Heroes and going back with Bob McGrady a few times, I think they have offered a solution that should make everyone happy. And I know that there has been a lot of back and forth, how this should be implemented, who should be able to participate, but I really think that if we have the VFW, which is the organization in town that represents all of our veterans, and this is how they would like to see it implemented, I'm not sure why we would continue to go back and forth with that. It's been successful in every other town around us. The suggestion is that through fundraising efforts, which I will tell you, I'm going to partner with them, the VFW has offered to take the ownership of. So the way they would like to see it implemented is for the first year that the flags are hung, they are only hung at the VFW's cost for veterans that were killed in action. So we have 13. He sent me the list, ran down the numbers. They will help. They approved it in their meeting to go ahead with the full fundraising effort for that. It is their ask that it is done that way so that the flags for the individuals that were killed in action are honored alone. So that those are the ones we see. And then through application process, it opens up applications to be received through the town, obviously not through the VFW. And then from that point forward, the way it's been done successfully in other towns is that cost, the full burden of that cost lands on the family that would like to purchase the flag to honor a member of their family. Deceased, alive, passed away after service, obviously not in action because we would have already paid for that. Should someone be identified after, the VFW will take care of that. And really, at that point, they did not see any reason for why we would not open it up to, of course, based on spacing, an individual that grew up here that may have moved away and passed away in another town. But if this is where their history was, there's no reason to not honor that. So that is their request. That is how they have asked for this to go forward. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't honor their request, especially considering that they're going to bear the cost of the first year of this. So I just would like to know that you're all okay with this and that we can move forward so that if they can move forward with enacting how they're going to move their fundraising efforts forward, they have at least from now until early next spring so that they can be done, completed, and up at least the first 13 for Memorial Day.
All right, so I think I agree with the 13 who's deceased, we should start, if everyone's okay with that, start right away with that. And then I think we should have a workshop discussion on the other second part of it, just to make sure everybody's on the same page on how we want to move forward, because I don't know how many poles we have, I don't know how much space we have, I don't know any of those things. So I think we need to get some information on that, and Michael, maybe you could collect that kind of information? You know, I don't know, are we talking about every pole in town, or 2 per pole?
No, I think we said Wanacue Ave, and if we feel, look, if this is something that is really grabbed onto, and it's, I mean, what greater honor is there than for everyone to want to purchase this and honor someone? So if it comes to a point where we're running out of space, they don't have to be double-sided flags. You can do single-sided and then utilize 2 flags on 1 pole. And even if we were to run off partial on Colfax Ave, where some of the businesses are, at least for that first leg, if we run out of space, that's a good problem, right? That means that everyone has wanted to participate in this. I don't know if that's going to happen. I see them, I think we've kind of fallen behind on this. I'm seeing them everywhere now. So
I'm just concerned that if we don't have a procedure in place, somebody's going to complain, I want to be downtown, how do I get downtown, and this person...
Well, there's always going to be a complaint, and this is why things get held up, because we go back and forth continuously with what the issues are.
Well, we have workshop, let's bring it up in workshop. That's what a
So
workshop is for.
I would like to give the go-ahead for the 13 flags.
Yes,
for
I'm okay with the
first year.
13. Is everybody okay with the 13?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so that gives us 2025 flags will be 13 that I've identified. Should there be more, it'll be brought to our attention. So now we really have until 2026 to figure out what
Okay.
we're going to do with the rest.
That's fine.
That sounds good. And then something else I had brought to a few of your attention, I didn't have a chance to reach out to everyone yet, but I did share this with Michael Corelli. We had, and Councilwoman Kent, I was meant to tell you last night, and we ate so much I forgot. So Councilwoman Kent and I, through the Lakeside Park improvement, worked very hard with the schools and a member of our historic committee to get some surplus funding from a grant that had not been used to create the sculpture that is now at Lakeside Park, which I see online all the time. People are constantly taking pictures of it. It really did really well. It was in part with the special needs children and the gifted and talented art students. So it was a collaboration across multiple groups, and it really, really was a home run. And I think at that time we had talked about the possibility of expanding some of this art to other areas in town.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the lake the other night having dinner, and something I see all over now, there's a big mural on the side of the restaurant. It says Greenwood and then Lake. In every letter of Greenwood, there is a picture of something very representative of the area. This was skewed a little heavily toward the business because it was on a business. But we have, however many letters we would need to fill, we certainly have enough historic spots in Pompton Lakes to create a mural, with the backdrop being the beautiful Lakeside Park renovation, new gazebo, the floating dock. I asked while I was there who did it, and it happens to be the gentleman that owns the bar, who was a graphic artist who did this overlay on the wall. And we talked about possibly looking for a grant to move forward. This individual would do this for our town. He doesn't do it professionally, but he did an amazing job on his and would certainly like to see it hung somewhere else. So maybe we can start looking at some additional grant funding. I think the grant we used for Lakeside Park was the Morris Canal Greenway Art Project. So I think that was a one-time thing, right? Are you familiar with that? They did.
Yeah, Passaic County put that out as part of that.
Right, so it was just a one-time, but there are other art grants that we can look into. And we have a brand new boathouse, or I'm sorry, a brand new bathhouse going up at Hirschfield Park. So perhaps the side of that would be a really nice place to showcase something like that. And, we have a few historic buildings. We have the Veterans Monument, we have the Bell, our library, which we're now going to start putting a lot of money into renovating, is a beautiful, beautiful building in town. So I think if we really thought about it, we could create something lovely that everyone would want to take a picture of in front of our newly renovated Hirschfield Park. So I shared the pictures with a few of you. I'll send it to you later.
All right, well, again, that would be a workshop, a discussion, or we could talk about, there has to be some discussion. I know we're looking at making the building down at Hirschfield a presentable building to have some substance to it. I don't know if we all agree that we want to put artwork on it. That would be a discussion we'd have to have. I'm not against putting up the artwork. If we find a better place to it. To me, on that building might be a concern because we're putting rock on it. We're making it look like a a park, a Yosemite kind of park building.
Yeah.
So, but it's a discussion we can have in workshop, we could talk about it.
And then my last question, so yes, can we add that to the next workshop then?
Yes.
And then my next question, is there any follow-up on the potential violations for DEP for behind the hardware store?
Thank you, Councilwoman. No, we're waiting on official notification from the DEP at this point, which I'm told could take up to 6 months.
Okay, so in the event that we are in violation and we find that it's not only private, but also borough property, are we responsible, or would that be the contractor that did that work?
For our property, we would ultimately be responsible, yes.
We have no recourse for the individual that had done the work?
No.
Okay, thank you. That is my report.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to echo my council members' comments about the police department. We have a community here, a very strong community built by volunteers, as brought up earlier. So I want to take the time to thank all our volunteers, whether it be sports, Shade Tree, Flood Board, all our boards are volunteer. That being said, last night's Girl Scout Court of Awards was at the high school. I want to thank the leaders and the volunteers, the parent volunteers that helped make that happen. Kat Freeman did an amazing job running that. And lastly, I want to acknowledge the Pompton Lakes School District Music Department, specifically Mr. Jason Steer from the Lakeside Middle School and Mr. Chris Napa, Music Director for Pompton Lakes High School. I had the opportunity to chaperone these students. The middle school went to the High Note Music Festival over in Pennsylvania, and they spent time at Dorney Park afterwards. And that was a good time by all. Long day, but a fun day. But lastly, Mr. Napa, Mr. Chris Napa, has a connection with Carnegie Hall, and the choir students had the unique opportunity to perform at Carnegie Hall with other amateur choir directors and music folks, and to be backstage and be able to go back and forth between the house side and the backstage side was just an incredible opportunity. So thank you to those folks, but also the music department. So if you've been to an elementary school concert and you walk in and you don't know what you're expecting to hear when they have these little plastic recorders, it leaves a lot to be desired. Let's just be honest. There's a process to learn all that. But when you go to a middle school concert, which I've been attended quite a few, you see the progression. And then when they get to high school, it's like, wow, the kids that stick with it, this is what they're capable of. And then some of them actually stick with it through college and beyond. So I support the music department and what they're doing, and I thank all the folks that are involved in that. And that is my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Attorney's report. Do you have any report?
Nothing this evening, Mayor, thank you.
Okay, Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. A few items for tonight. For the Howard Street Improvements Project, work resumed on site today with regards to the ADA and curbing improvements. We've run into issues with the contractor due to potential contamination of soil as a result of the DuPont plume matter. We've confirmed with the DEP and with DuPont's engineer that none of our work is within the plume designated area and that we are free to move forward with our minor sidewalk improvements. Paving is expected to be completed sometime within the next 3 weeks. We have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow for the Hirschfield Street and Ackerman Place Improvements Project. That work is expected to start on or about July 1st, so more to come on that. The borough's contractor completed the Lincoln Ave Phase 2 Improvements Project. There are still a few punch list items pending, some of which has to do with grass seeding and line striping, but in general, it was a successful project that was completed, and glad to see that finished. We've talked about in the past the Lakeside Avenue guardrail along the Lakeside Park, which apparently is in non-compliance with DOT standards. I just wanted to make the governing body aware that we were discussing this with the Open Space Committee as a potential project, but we are looking at Lakeside Ave for this year's DOT Municipal Aid Program. So it's looking like we'll be able to get that covered through the grant. So it will lessen the burden on the Open Space Trust Fund. So we could put that, that's going to be resolved, so we don't have to talk about that at the open space meeting anymore. I'm working with Meridia to finalize the permit set and architectural plans for the new Civic Center. So I'm told that we should have the permits filed by the end of the week, and we will probably hold a pre-construction meeting to talk about the next steps. So that's good progress on that front. I sent the governing body a link to our new website. So you should all take a look at the new and improved Pompton Lakes website. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. It's expected to be rolled out mid-July. So it's a new and improved look, more user-friendly, and we're looking forward to that. Residents should see our new street sign replacement program kickstart. The DPW has been painting all of the street sign poles, has been replacing poles that are crooked, and will be installing the new street signs with the Pompton Lakes Cardinal on it within the next few months. So we're looking forward to that.
And that'll look nice.
As the mayor mentioned, the new pickleball court was striped. However, it's come to my attention from the Pompton Lakes athletic director that the striping of the one pickleball court may or may not cause a competitive advantage or disadvantage to someone else on the adjacent court that does not have the pickleball lines themselves. It could be some sort of violation.
You lost me, I don't even know what
With
you said.
regards to.
Are we talking tennis or are we talking pickleball?
The one tennis court to the right has the pickleball striping. The rest do not.
Right.
He's telling me that it could be a disadvantage if someone was playing on the court that had the pickleball lines. As opposed
Playing tennis.
Playing tennis on the pickleball court could be a competitive issue in a competition.
Oh, I don't want to hear the complaining.
Yeah, so we're looking into the feasibility of striping the other courts and how much that would cost.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
So they start, tennis is gonna start.
One of the reasons
From
we've been
July, they're gonna
live for
start.
so long is because they tried to tell us we
Yeah, but
couldn't
that's-
play states there if they were live.
Right.
But then I see other towns have them all over the place.
Yeah, so we're looking into that. And then lastly, the mayor brought this up tonight. We'll bring this forth probably via presentation at a future council meeting. However, since the mayor brought it up, we're talking with some parking vendors. We're specifically interested, and I know Councilman DeLine would know the company of Park Mobile.
Yep.
So we're looking at Park Mobile, which is a mobile parking app. So residents would be able to pay with the coin kiosk on the street, or there would be an overlay mapping system that you would essentially zoom into your spot. You could pick down to the minute how long you're going to be there, and you would pay right from your phone. So it provides greater accountability for collecting revenue because we won't have to physically go out and enforce it so much because we will know from the app if the user's paying. And then Park Mobile, let me also say that the kiosks that we bought 2 years ago do not do the permitting that we do for the high school. So they don't necessarily work in accordance with our procedures. So Park Mobile has a solution for permitting. So we're looking into that as a potential solution. But I think for your benefit and for the public's benefit, we'll do a public presentation at some point as to what this is. Because it would be a significant change.
And we'll do a better job in collecting funds from those meters.
Right.
And our meters will still take a nickel.
Park Mobile's used everywhere.
Yeah. it's
So
around.
if you have the app, it's, I mean, you can use it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so more to come on that, but we're definitely looking into that. And that's my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Any
I had a
questions?
couple yes, I do. Back to the signs, the street signs. You had mentioned that there's a possibility for them to be purchased when they're retired.
Yes. you
Can
bring
we
up-
turn that into something really fun for the town and do an auction?
You bring up
Because
an excellent point.
We can make a lot of money if you just do all those signs at a big auction.
I spoke with Dan O'Rourke. We're going to use the municipality's auction company, Municipid, that we have. So residents will be able to go on our page and look and see if their street is available, and they'd be able to bid on the sign.
That's outstanding.
The lowest bid would be $1. You know, we're not looking to make a killing, but, you know, it might be a fun way to bring the community together.
You could probably start higher than $1, and what are they charging for that? I'd start at 10.
I've seen from other towns anywhere from $5 to $10 per sign.
No, I meant the what are they charging us to facilitate this?
A 0.
0?
Yeah.
Start at 10.
Yeah, so more to come on that. We're working the details
That's a great
out. So,
idea.
sorry I forgot that. Thank you.
Website, I didn't have a chance to look at it yet, but I did have one question. So the calendar is really, really hard to find, the PDF. Can there be something on the landing page that has it linked to the, it's impossible to find. It's
Yeah,
very.
we could have it right on the homepage.
Yeah,
absolutely.
because the calendar that comes up on the homepage isn't as comprehensive as what's listed on the actual PDF, the paper calendar. And then my last question, or actually comment, I want to thank you for expediting the issue for the VFW with the sign for the street, and the dog park, outstanding.
Yeah, so the dog park sponsorships, we've sold about 10 so far.
That is outstanding.
And more to come. So it's looking like a nice program.
If that works and that rolls over every season as anticipated, that dog park will continue to be able to sustain itself for improvements.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Liz, the calendars are due to come out July 1st?
No, the
June 26th.
26th or the 27th, they will be in the mail, so everyone should get it by the 20th.
So everybody should receive their new paper calendar July, or June 28th or so, around there. Okay, keep that in mind. If you don't get it June 28th, please wait a day or two before you make a call and say I didn't get it. But everybody who has a residence here in town will have one mailed to you. And for any new residents watching this, that is kind of a Bible of what goes on in this town. So if you keep that up there, it will tell you when everything is happening in town. Any other questions from the administration?
I just want to mention one little thing. We have the Flag Day ceremony at the Pompton Lakes Elks Lodge is going to be held June 14th, this Friday. It's at 5:45 p.m. So all are invited. Hope to see everyone there. Before I forget.
Workshop, who's going to do the first one? I guess Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. I have one business item for tonight. It's come to my attention, and I don't necessarily have a lot of history on this, but if you recall, there used to be a skate park at Hirschfield.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I do.
Apparently, we capped it at some point and put in the dog park.
Yes.
And with regards to doing that, there was permitting that needed to be done with the DEP. And I've come to find out that we've never done that.
Of course we do.
So I have a proposal here for your consideration. That is at a cost not to exceed $2,500 to file all the necessary permits. So any proposal that's not within the budget, I'd like to bring forth in workshop because it's a separate standalone item. So if you have any questions or concerns, let me know, but we're looking to move forward with that.
Oh, I'm sorry, what's the permit for?
It's for a soil remedial action permit.
So it was capped when it was dismantled.
When it was capped, they had that, when it was capped, it had that permit?
Yeah.
So that's a good question. Was
I
that
don't
permit
remember
needed
that
back
permit.
then?
Need a
It's a
biennial.
refile. It's a biennial,
biennial
permit. So it was due in
Every 2 years.
2017, 2019, 2021, and 2023.
Oh, my God.
So we're gonna file the permits and
Okay.
square this away.
Let's do it the right way.
Just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Okay.
Thank you.
I guess you're keep going with Hirschfield Park. Oh, yeah, that was all you had, right?
Yep, I'll defer to Dave.
Oh, Dave, are you going to do the governing body? Okay.
Yeah, so the question came up recently whether emails that you have relating, you council members, your emails or text messages that are related to borough business are government records. They are in fact government records, and therefore, and you should have my memo. It's pretty straightforward. You just need to maintain those. I would discourage texts. With respect to emails, you should save those in just a borough communications folder. Create a folder for them, put them in borough communications. With respect to texts, as I said, best to discourage them, but just take a screenshot of the text and email it to your borough communications. Those communications are all to be maintained for 3 years according to the schedule of records. And what we can do, if we're not already doing it, is apply, once we get to that 3-year point, just apply to the State Archive folks to ask them whether we can destroy now and discard the records that are older than 3 years, and typically that is a yes. So, but the important thing is that you should maintain those. Those are government.
So our IT program, Mike, automatically saves all our emails. Isn't that correct?
They are archived,
Yes,
yes.
they are.
Right, so I did bring this to Dave's attention because I had some questions. So as far as deleting then, it doesn't matter if we delete them because they're archived regardless?
As long as they're archived.
They are.
The emails.
What is the,
Email, so when we have all these emails that come in, I mean, I'm guessing that we use our discretion as to what is a junk email and what is not, right? So if it's something that we've corresponded back and forth, we've talked about the dog park, we've come to a resolution, I want this out of my inbox so that it's not filled. If I delete it, is it archived or should I create a separate folder and then move it to a folder?
It is in fact archived.
So we can delete them?
Yes.
Okay. Then my next question was, should there be a conversation about something that, and look, there's a lot of issues all the time now, and someone goes back and forth and there is a text message chain, that phone can then be taken.
Sure.
So I think that we have a lot of departments in this town that are issued cell phones, and I've asked this before, why don't we have cell phones? Because look, if it's impossible at this point to break the habit of, we all text people all the time. We text each other, we have people text us, we live here, it's a small community, we all get texts. I can't be without my phone, they're gonna confiscate the phone if there's an issue.
Well, only confiscate the part they need.
Well, they will have to confiscate the phone to take the part they need.
yeah, but they still gotta plug it in and extract that information, so they're gonna be with your phone for a period of time.
Exactly, and
So,
that's my
it's not-
phone, and, you know, so I think perhaps, how much more could it cost to issue
Well, it
6
wasn't about
cell
the cost.
phones?
The last time we brought this up, a lot of the council at the time didn't want to carry 2 phones. That was.
So
the
if you want to opt out of that, that's fine, but if it is an option, I would like one, because it is my personal phone, and because I've seen recently in this last year, we've had an uptick in things that could be considered conflicts, and there's a lot of issues happening right now. I would like to have some type of a separation from my personal life to government correspondence.
There's going to be a cost involved with that too, of course.
So Dave, I know the answer to this already, but I think we should, since we're in this venue, something that we should also be aware of is social media messages, not just posts, but Facebook has a messenger app, Instagram has a messenger app,
Correct.
all of those things. Those are also records that have to be maintained.
Yeah.
So again, whether you're using your personal account or if you created a borough councilman Facebook account or anything like that, but you're using it for borough business, those are government records that need to be maintained.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
easy to, I mean, you don't have to actually physically hand something over for that to be accessed.
No, that is true.
So
but-
I'm just concerned about the actual physical property of the phone.
But I think people have to be mindful
To maintain
of
those
that their
records as well.
messages are also government records that
Yes.
have to be maintained.
And if you open a town page, you cannot block anyone from the town page.
Correct.
So in other words, if they were in your group or however you put them on, you can't block them if it's a town page.
And just to add to that, just so you guys know, like Messenger, they have a Windows version of that as well. So unless you want your desktop or laptop to be confiscated as well, because you're communicating through there as well, because if the messages don't match, you use a different account, just keep that in mind as well. Because there is a Windows version of those apps that also apply to Macs, Windows.
So I'll throw it out. I mean, does anybody want to have 2 phones? I mean, it's up to
If they're
you.
gonna take my phone, you can probably,
I want one.
I'll opt in if,
I'll opt in.
yeah, they're not grabbing my, not that I do anyway, because
I
I
don't
don't.
want it
really
either.
want to-
I don't want.
Okay.
Do not want to.
All right, so if we take a vote on it, it's going to be 3-3, and I'll break the tie. If you want one.
No, why does this have to be an all or none? 3 people want a phone, 3 people don't.
Well, I don't
So
know, then we're spending money for half of a group. Which, you know,
You
we,
chose-
Well, we
not
do
to
that
do it.
anyways for laptops.
well, everybody has laptops, all right?
I don't know if anyone does.
I think everybody does.
There's no,
Well, I think that if we, I mean, I guess we can all decide whether we want to. If some people want it, then they don't have to have, if they don't want it, they don't have to have it. If we want it, we should be able to have it. It should be accessible.
considering that the cost to add a phone to a phone line is minimal, will
Well, no,
you
it'll
all
a
be
couple- how much
okay
will it be,
with?
Mike? It'll be a couple hundred?
Could be.
Yeah.
It's nothing
That's
crazy
nothing.
though.
It's nothing crazy for all of us. So, I mean, are you all okay? If you don't want a phone and I want a phone, can I have a
I have
phone?
no issue with that.
Okay, so if it goes to a vote, it'll pass, 3 of us can have a phone.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't care if you want, I personally.
Whatever process.
I don't want one.
All right, so I guess it looks like 3 people would like a phone.
Okay, well, I'll work on implementing that.
It
don't
doesn't need to be
necessarily
anything
order it, get the
crazy.
numbers together, because if you
Yeah.
come up with some outrageous number,
Oh, I know.
it's gonna be a no for me. I don't need a phone.
You know
Well-
what? I was gonna say, I was like, you know what, I'll take a phone, give me like a Nokia.
I don't
And I'll-
care if it's a flip
and I'll be
phone,
fine.
you can
Like,
get
I
me a
can't
flip
text
phone.
on it, you can call me, and that's it.
Right.
Oh, we could go.
I just want something I
wanna
can call
go
there, that's it. Just call me, and that's all I
I
can
did
do.
have another question.
However, if you use this phone, are you going to be limited to just town business?
Well, yes, because then you would
Just
have
town
other.
The only
business.
reason we want it is to be separated from town business, and I mean, I have unlimited data and calling, I don't need to use the borough
Michael,
phone
just a
to
quick
make
question.
calls.
The
You can
archiving
use it for
that's in
other
place
things,
right now,
but
that policy,
Those other things.
is it
Are
immediate
then
subject-
archiving, or is
subject
it based
to-
on
Okay,
a retention
You
year?
want it to only be for sale.
So for example, you could set archiving to archive everything greater than 2 years. So that'll be anything 22 and on. Or if they do have it that, which I will be shocked if they do, that the moment a email comes in, it's automatically archived at the point of delivery. Verify that, because that's what I do for a living. I'm just pointing it out there. We have rules we gotta follow, regulatory rules, but we don't do immediate archiving. It's usually based on a
Right.
retention period that you wanna hold on, and then it archives them out.
Right.
And then that lives forever. So I would just make sure, big case in point is that upon delivery of that email, is it immediately archived? Because if it's not, and you delete it, it's not saved.
Oh, it's not protected.
It's not, no, it's not saved. It's not a matter of protection.
Right.
You delete an item, it's not saved. And I only know that because that's what I do. So normally it's like 2 years, because it gets a little much when you look at the much emails that you're getting. So if he does find out, that'll clarify, obviously, if things are immediately archived or greater than 2 years or something like
So
that.
Mike, let me ask you this, and you might not know the answer, but does our IT program automatically delete them after 3 years, or do we have to approve that?
There's a retention policy that's assigned to your mailbox. So since we're government here, I don't know what that is, they can tell you. But the retention policy is assigned to the mailbox, that mailbox determines the years. You can put it forever, you can put it for 10 years.
Could you
can
find
put it
out, I
15
mean, just to
years.
make sure
Yeah,
we are.
That's everything that's involved with
3
that.
years?
Yeah, but it should not automatically delete them. You have to get the consent.
Right, yeah, so
Yes.
do we ever ask for that consent is what I'm asking? I don't know if we have or haven't.
If,
We should start.
yeah, they should ask, because normally at the end, because they don't keep them, mailboxes cannot grow forever. They become unusable after a certain point. So they have to look at what, legally we're bound to keep. If it's 7 years, then after 7, they gotta go.
So
They
is
gotta
there
go.
more storage if we just create a file and
It's
then
not
once you
about-
read it, you move it into a file?
Mailboxes become problematic once you hit 50 gigs.
Okay.
You normally only get 25. So I can tell you, once you start hitting the 100 mark, you're gonna start having problems. The archiving is no different. They're not gonna let it go to 400, 500 gigs. They're gonna tell you we can't even open it. So whatever it is, he'll find out, but there are retention periods assigned to that, depending on the content, how it's classified. Us is probably everything. So I don't think there's a separation in that, so I'm pretty sure Michael will get all the information on that.
Michael, also, a lot of us have our personal cell phones on our business cards, and, we get, I get calls and texts all the time. I'd like to be able to put my town cell phone number on a business card and separate that a little bit too.
Sure.
So,
We can
and
work
it
on
used
that.
to be just a phone just for texting and calling, it doesn't have to have any access to anything.
course.
We
Yeah, I don't
don't have
need
our
any-
own phones for that.
I agree. No, we don't need any bells and whistles, I don't care.
Thank you, we'll follow up.
Okay. Redevelopment AG procedures. Lisa, you had a concern?
Yes, well, I, months ago now,
Right.
seems like forever ago, when we were talking about redevelopment, someone, I got a couple of emails, and people were asking me questions. And so I wanted to ask about it in workshop. I guess one of my questions is, does the council have a say on what projects are allowed to be built in town? Such as, like if a developer wants to build like a 4-story building and they go to redevelopment, does just the redevelopment agency have a say in that? Or when they're complete with however they want to see the project, does it then need to come to us for approval?
Yes, so you're gonna get approvals for the pilot.
Can we
and
let the
building.
attorney answer, please?
Okay.
You interrupted him. Go ahead. I just want to hear it from the attorney though. I mean, this is why we asked for workshop. We have questions.
Well, you have the memo, that, right? You get the memo. So the redevelopment agency is really, literally an agent of the council. The council, working with the planning board, puts together, what areas are in need of redevelopment. Then when you have your redevelopment agency, they essentially do your bidding for you in terms of getting the redevelopment plan put in place in a way that is going to be approvable by the council. But the redevelopment agency doesn't approve anything. It's the council that has the ultimate approval. They go out and negotiate things. They are your agent.
So, okay.
So
when a project
when a
is-
redevelopment agreement is negotiated by the redevelopment agency, it comes here.
Is
for
that
your
just for the
approval.
pilot, or is that both for the pilot and the project?
Both the project agreement and the financial agreement.
Are
There
they
two
one, are they
agreements.
together?
No,
or
they are
they
not. They are separate.
Okay.
So the Pompton Plaza, the building that's been going back and forth, the 15-story building that's been a huge point of contention in town, if that were to be approved, well, that's a bad example because that's an amendment to the redevelopment plan in and of itself that has to be
It would
approved
need
first.
to, yes.
So let's just say hypothetically, something that's well within the scope of the existing redevelopment plan passes redevelopment, then it comes to us and we decide we don't want it. We say no.
Yes, you can say no.
When I was new and for the beginning of redevelopment starting, the first couple of years I was here, I was told that if you do that, once they're approved by redevelopment, the builder will sue the town.
Well, they're probably not wrong about that,
Yeah, you
because
can.
when you have a redevelopment plan, you're saying that this is fundamentally becomes the zoning code. So, yes, there is the financial aspect that the council has to approve, but the planning board has adopted, and by adopting the redevelopment plan, we've agreed with the vision of this taking form in redevelopment. So say somebody comes in and we permit 5-story building with X amount of density per acre and everything like that. And this developer comes in and they've got a fully conforming lot, they've been through redevelopment, they've got the parking they need, they meet all, there's no changes that are necessary for the redevelopment plan. They're fundamentally consistent with the redevelopment plan.
And it's a redevelopment plan that this council has approved.
Correct.
Well,
Yes.
so that's my next question.
So then,
This-
if we turn around and we deny the project, we might deny it on the financial aspect of it, the pilot, but the project itself, then we're sort of being arbitrary and capricious, because at that point we're saying, well, we know what we said when we said this, but now we don't really like this. So that becomes problematic.
So for the most part, this sitting council wasn't that council. So I guess my next question is, and we are one of the one of the smallest municipalities in all of New Jersey to actually have a redevelopment agency. There are towns much larger that are undergoing much larger scopes of redevelopment through their own planning board and their own council. We have this Phoenix Advisors, which have now been contracted to review the pilots, which can even expand the service to identify whether or not the pilot is viable before it's even approved. So we have help on that end. We have a planning board that really can do the redevelopment. To me, at this point, seems to be just another workaround. We've seen a lot of things slip through the cracks. There have been a lot of mistakes made. And this council isn't necessarily the council that adopted that plan. So if it was created by ordinance, it can be dissolved by ordinance, and then the power would shift to the planning board and the approval of the council.
There is a step process for that. You would have to have the ordinance approved by the state, I forget what agency it is. There has to be confirmation that the redevelopment agency has no debt. I can't imagine our redevelopment.
They have no
agency has
budget.
There are a few towns that have drafted the ordinance to have
Yes,
the redevelopment
yeah, but
agencies
you
dissolved.
do need to have it approved by the state, and then you can dissolve the redevelopment agency.
Okay, so that's something I think we should start having conversations about. There's a lot of backlash in the community about what redevelopment looks like now, and the average resident doesn't know how to delineate how the chain of how this works, how decisions are made, who's saying yes, and really it's, the council's being held responsible for things that are not being received well, and perhaps I was happy to hear Council President DeLine speak of the fact that there is someone that can actually take some time to review a pilot, because it seems like it's been a cookie cutter. Everyone gets a 30-year pilot, regardless of the size or scope of the project. That might not necessarily be in the best in interest of the borough. So, you know, I think it's just been a lot of generalities and ways that we approach things, and I would like to have a closer look at what goes on.
So the reason
The council is elected by the people to make the decisions for what this town looks like, and I just think the redevelopment agency has been problematic, and it's just an extra step that we don't really need.
But we still do. We still do. We still approve the project, we still do the pilot, regardless of whether the review process falls in the hands of the planning board or it falls under the hands of the redevelopment agency. The only difference is that the step that the applicant would take prior to coming to us. So there's really, like, we're not giving up our authority to approve these projects, but we're saying, you know, again, when this redevelopment agency was created, one of the things was to keep the politics out of these decisions, where you have specific, a redevelopment attorney, you have professionals that are dedicated to this specific topic. So that was the idea of redevelopment. We may disagree on how.
But we know that idea has morphed away from what it was.
We can disagree on how it's been effectuated, and I think there are.
It's more political on redevelopment than it is on this council.
So, and part of the other question,
Well, only because, again, that doesn't mean that by moving it to the council, it doesn't then become political
So
here.
if we denied a project, say we went through redevelopment, they said yes, and it came to the council, and the council said no, now we can be sued for that, potentially. Could we be sued?
Potentially.
But could we be sued if we didn't have a redevelopment agency and it went through planning or zoning and then?
You can be sued either way, if you would say, yeah.
No, if we didn't have a redevelopment agency and it just went through planning and
Still-
the planning board
you would
turned
still
it
be
down.
sued, yes.
Okay.
If you approve a redevelopment plan, and what the redevelopment agency negotiates complies with your redevelopment plan, and then you say, no, we've changed our mind after everyone has put their efforts and their time into it, that's how you can get sued. So, again, the redevelopment agency is your agent. You know, it's you that puts the redevelopment plan in place.
Okay, so so first someone comes and asks for the pilot, I would assume that's how they do it.
First thing they do is conceptual. Whether, do you even think this idea will work to the redevelopment agency?
So they go through all of that before they actually ask for a pilot?
And so we
Well,
had a developer.
They could be told at the conceptual by the redevelopment agency, we don't think this is a good project, and then it goes away.
Right.
And we had a developer ask if they could speak to the council, and they came back to one of us and told us that they were told, no, you cannot speak to the council. Well, because I pushed for it. Initially, they had asked and they were told no.
It's not in the best interest for them to jump step, they jump to step.
Well, it is in the best interest to them if this council has no intention or has the intention, they should know if we're not going to amend the redevelopment plan to accommodate for a 15-story building, they should probably know that
No,
before they go spend all their
The
money on
problem
their.
was they were asking to just have one
I
specific part.
want to relay some of this off of Dave,
Okay,
because
but
I know, but
but
you're
you brought up-
biased as to how you
You
feel
just brought
about
up a point
this.
that is wrong, okay? They
I
wanted to
didn't. The
come to-
developer told me, you told them they're not allowed to speak to the
No,
council.
because they wanted one piece of their development project approved, the height. We told them everything had to be approved at one time. We're not going to piecemeal one thing at a time.
That was not how it was relayed to me, so.
Well, they relayed it wrong, that's what
Or
happened.
you did.
Okay, they
So-
wanted a height requirement, approval by the council.
So, if
So
we
how
were
does-
to want to move to shift away from this, because I will tell you, you are
Wait,
saying
hold on,
that.
I hate to interject. Are we, this discussion started off
Yeah,
as the
we're-
redevelopment
yeah,
process, and I think we're going into the necessity of the redevelopment agency.
Well, that was
And I
my
think
concern
we're-
from the beginning.
Well, this
not
workshop
what this
was the
workshop is
redevelopment
about.
agency process.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting a little away from
I like,
what.
It's Lisa's
I would
question.
like to know
Well, actually,
the
it was
steps,
all of ours, and
Yeah, I'd like to know the steps and how it works, because the public seems to think that we have the say in this, and I'm not really sure if we do.
You do, no, we do.
Yeah, yeah.
We do have the final say on the whole thing.
So the memo spells out the steps. So if you as a council determine that there are areas of deterioration, blight, lack of development, underutilization, you can adopt a resolution asking the planning board to look into this. The planning board will then do a study and they will hold a public hearing on whether or not this designated area is in fact appropriately designated as an area in need of redevelopment. That plan is then, if the planning board decides, yes, this is an area in need of redevelopment, it comes back to the council, and the council makes that designation of it as being an area in need of redevelopment. Council adopts the planning board's findings, then that goes to the Department of Community Affairs to make sure that the Department of Community Affairs is comfortable with that. Then a notice of that determination goes out to all the affected parties, tenants, the owners of the property. And then it's at that point that you'll start putting a redevelopment plan together. And it's at that point that you probably want to create a redevelopment agency to assist you with that. And you'll work with the planning board and the redevelopment agency and put together a redevelopment plan. And this is where you come up with your heights and what you want in that area. Do you want residential? Do you want mixed use? Do you want commercial? How high does it want to be? That sort of stuff. I'm going to kind of look to Eric here as a planner.
So when we put the redevelopment.
This really gets into his day-to-day.
When we put the redevelopment again, and it was the previous mayor, because even before me, it took the politics out, and there's changing council all the time. So the board is stationary, like a planning board, they're pretty much the same members. Okay, so they have the say to present to us. We have the final say, does that property get designated or not designated? Does that property get a pilot, doesn't get a pilot? Does that property get built or not built? This sitting council has voted, except maybe you, on every project that's gone forward unanimously. Okay, so everyone sitting here has voted for every project that's happened in town so far.
In the redevelopment.
In the redevelopment.
As a predicate for that. You would adopt the redevelopment plan. With your professionals, you'll decide on this, and then you'll adopt the redevelopment plan. And that's when your redevelopment agency steps in and becomes your agent to negotiate with all the different developers who may be interested in pitching their project that complies with that redevelopment plan.
I heard the attorney for the redevelopment agency
Andy
say
Brewer.
that we didn't have the say in I heard he said that we didn't, like, in the project, if they
Which
approved the project, that we didn't, any project, like, if they approve a project, we don't have a say in the project, we only have a say in the pilot.
And that's what I was always told too.
No.
That's not correct.
Okay.
What we don't do is we don't do site planning as part of this project.
And
We leave that to either both the redevelopment agency and the planning
And
board,
planning board, right.
which brings up some concerns that way. But generally, our job at that point is to leverage the planning board and the redevelopment agency process. And when it comes to us, it's a yes or no vote. What we're not doing is saying, well, we wish it was a little bit shorter.
Oh, yes,
Or
yeah.
anything like that.
Oh,
We
we
don't-
wish
that's
it
what-
was- yeah.
I don't know if that's what he meant by that, but we do have a say insofar as it's an up or down vote.
And let's remember, the reason we started pilots initially was, and we'll use the building that's being Meridian project now, our piece of the taxes, the part that the town collected at the property as it was stationed there, was roughly $26,000. The first year of the pilot is $350,000. After 30 years, it's $1 million. For a small town, those are very large numbers, and we all know how difficult our budgets are moving forward right now. This is gonna offset some of those costs that we have. If we don't use a pilot, and we don't use that, we collect just the piece of taxes that we're supposed to collect.
So there's a lot of speculation as to how effective pilots are on 30-year versus when you actually realize the real market value of the property. And so we're not going to say that it is the right thing or not the right thing, because that's beyond the scope of this conversation. And just to confirm, the redevelopment board members, they're not stationary. They run on terms just like we do. So they're not there, right?
By
And
term,
yeah,
right.
so they're not permanently assigned, they're
But none of them have-
volunteers.
yeah,
I
none
mean,
of
they're
them have.
not.
It's just like the
you know.
planning board.
So it's
Same
just
as
like
planning board.
anybody. So to say that they are better served to be there because we're not always here and we change and they don't that's a little
Well,
bit
the
of a
idea is to
misguided
keep the
statement.
politics, which is what's happening
So,
out of that board. That's what the
It
idea is.
actually has become more political than I think it was supposed to have been, but that's another point. So this council was not the council that approved the redevelopment plan. And things have changed. We're
Well, no, there was-
post-pandemic, parking has changed. I wasn't here when the redevelopment plan was
He
approved.
was, I was, Eck was.
Okay.
The downtown redevelopment plan, I believe, was adopted in 2009 or 2010. So you were on, and possibly I was on, but I'm
Yeah,
pretty
so the
sure
majority of these
preceded
people
me,
were not.
actually. So, but again, like,
So a majority of the people that are sitting here now have no real working knowledge of it, and I will tell you that that's not a misstatement to make, because I did witness a redevelopment meeting where a member of the redevelopment agency said, what is the plan? What is the end game? What is the size and scope? Where are we going? What should this look like? And another member said, that's not really for us to, like, basically shut down that question. So if that's not for them, and we don't know it, who in the town knows what the end vision is? Is it unrealistic for this council to ask to have, can we revisit what the actual redevelopment plan looks like so that those of us sitting up here now know?
You should be able to see the redevelopment plan.
You can see the
Can we
redevelopment
have
plan anytime.
someone
It's
walk us
his
through
office.
it
Yeah, I would
so
think
that
and
we,
Mike
I would
has
think
it.
that Michael has the redevelopment.
Well,
can we dedicate like a meeting to revisiting what it is that is actually part
so
of?
there's two things. Is first of all, the redevelopment plan for downtown is codified in our municipal ordinance, so anybody can actually read it. The second thing is, I think it's like, if we're going to revisit the redevelopment area, I don't know if we have to redo the area in need of study.
We would.
Not necessarily. What
Yeah.
we might do is just direct the planning board to redo the redevelopment plan, but unless we're adding more
That's what I'm
properties.
thinking. I don't know the answer as I sit
But what
here.
we can do
This
is
a
we can
different
say,
question,
we're directing the planning board to review the existing redevelopment plan, suggest any changes, because,
Yeah.
I mean, not
It's
wrong.
15 years old,
Right,
and now we're
that's what I was gonna say.
post-pandemic, and life is
It's quite
different
old
now.
At this point, the type of development that people are undertaking is different, so it might need a new.
Materials
review.
are different,
But
look is different,
one of the things.
lifestyle,
But-
work-life balance
But
is
one of the
different.
things that works with a redevelopment plan versus a traditional zoning code, okay, is that you do have the ability to amend the redevelopment plan to meet market needs. It's designed to be a little bit more flexible than the zoning code, because if you don't meet the zoning code, now you're in front of the Board of Adjustment, now you're getting D1 variances or whatever it is. This, even without redoing the redevelopment plan, maybe there's need a fresh look at the vision of redevelopment in the downtown, but redevelopment plans can always be amended to meet modern market conditions. You know, they might have a vision of, well, we really only want 4 stories in the downtown, or 3 stories. Let's take it down and say 3 stories. Well, if I'm a developer and I've got to go through the purchase cost, all the soft costs associated with the property, all of that stuff, I have to do affordable housing, I have to do, whatever the other requirements are of the thing. Has to be financially worth it for me. And maybe it pencils out that I can't do it in 3 stories. I can't even do it in 4 stories. I need 5 stories. And that sort of becomes part of the negotiation process of amending a redevelopment plan.
So there is a lot of press surrounding towns for municipalities that are starting to amend their redevelopment plans, and this is 15 years old, and I would be okay with that exercise.
So a lot of towns right now are doing redevelopment. They're not building homes, they're building apartments. This is what's happening. I can tell you, speaking for the next 4 or 5 years, and Mike can address this, if we don't come up with a plan now to handle what's going to happen from healthcare costs and retirement costs in the next couple of years, taxes could increase tremendously.
This has absolutely nothing to
Well,
do
you're
with
interrupting me,
revisiting
first of all.
and amending
I'm
a
not saying
redevelopment
amending.
plan.
What I'm telling you is, reasons towns are doing this is to bring income into their towns. That's why they're doing it. We're not the only town. Every town around us is doing this. We're not by ourselves in any means by doing this, okay? Bloomingdale is in the process of putting in 400 units because of the tax break they're going to get from that.
So, but we are Pompton Lakes, we are not Bloomingdale,
I'm
and
just
there's
saying
nothing wrong with the request of asking to revisit our redevelopment
Okay,
plan
but
to
that's
make
not what
sure
this
that
is
it's
about.
still,
This meeting was about.
this is workshop, we are talking,
But this
I
is
have
not part of the
questions,
workshop.
I don't have to follow your protocol, I am asking questions
Yes, you
about
do.
redevelopment. No, I do not,
Yes, you
I
do.
do not.
You can show respect to this council and to this mayor, and if you don't, you're not doing a job to your public.
You are very
All right,
disrespectful
I think-
and very rude,
I
and
think
I
we're
don't
getting a
work for
little
you.
far afield.
Okay. So what I'm saying is what this discussion was about, Lisa asked some concerns, and I'm trying to address her concerns. And Dave, I don't know if you have any more to add.
That was the process.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would like to add another workshop session for redevelopment, since apparently we're not allowed to have a free-flowing conversation about one topic.
No, we have a topic. If you want to change a topic, you have to add.
You just don't want me to speak. I have sat up here all night and listened to you
No,
contradict
because
every single
anyone
thing
can
I've
throw
said. You
anything they
interrupted
want.
my report 3 times to contradict something I
Your
said.
report shouldn't have been done the way you did it. You did not, you reported on things that you
Mike.
were asking to be done. That's
Mike,
not
we
what
already had a
report-
rules and responsibility meeting. This council does not answer to you.
This council.
All right, we're now
Actually,
definitely out of.
You are out of order for saying
I'm not going to be told my report is wrong. I'm
Your
not going
report
to
was
be,
wrong.
at one point,
We're-
relax.
Your report
Talks
was
over
wrong.
me and tells me to relax.
Your report was wrong.
Okay, it wasn't wrong.
Yes, it was. So if we'd like to have another open work session on this, we can. Lisa, I'll go back to you. Do you have any other questions or concerns? Because you're the
No,
one
you
who brought
answered it.
this. Dave, do you have anything you want to add to this?
No. That's the process, and amending, revisiting the redevelopment plan is, that's a whole separate discussion.
A whole separate discussion.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody good? Okay.
But people should look at the redevelopment plan prior to that.
Which, Mike, if you could send that out
Yeah,
again, that would be great.
Thank you.
Okay. That's all the items. Motion to open the meeting for public comments.
Motion.
Councilman Denon, Council President DeWine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address?
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. You were talking about the exit from the quarry, the new road that they're putting out, and that's going to eliminate most all the truck traffic. When that project was started, there was talk of turning over Broad Street back to the town. Broad Street is now a county road. Is it going to be turned over, or is it the fact that they have a concrete plant now at that property, and the concrete trucks are running up and down Broad Street? Is that going to hold up that Broad Street being turned over to the town? So we've eliminated 90% of the dust from the truck traffic, and we thank you for that. But is it, the concrete trucks are still going to run there? The conversation that me and you had, the little problem that we had, the little issue that we had at the May 8th and May 22nd meeting, our conversation was not in the minutes published on the website. Was there any reason why my comments and your comments were struck or taken out of the meeting minutes? Question?
Okay, I'll answer that.
And also, I have to say, I'm going to apologize, but then not apologize to you about bringing your salary up at one point in time, last year I think it was, and I can see it still sticks in your craw. But you're an elected public official, and all your salaries are public information. I obtained those salaries through Liz with an Oprah request. So I apologize that you got upset that I brought that up, but they're all public record. His salary, all your salaries are public record, and can be brought up at this podium at any time. I wanted to bring up, I was told by our new administrator that we were awarded $13,555.50 for a deer count and forest understory evaluation. That wasn't mentioned, so I just wanted to bring that up. 24,246. That was the forester that we hired. That was John Lindsay. Is that what that was? Correct?
We'll answer at the end.
Okay. And also 24,254, taxes being taken away or not being paid. That's for 279 Ramapo Street. That was a building purchased by the Pumpkin Lakes Municipal Utilities Authority. If you're going to delete those taxes, you must know a reason why they bought it. If you could possibly give some explanation instead of me having to go to the MUA meeting. But for you to forgive the taxes, you must know the reason why. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Councilman Cruz?
Second.
Councilwoman Kilburg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Broad Street, we did talk about the cement part of it. They said there'll be very limited cement trucks going through there, but we did not talk about who will take ownership. Do we know, Mike? Did we didn't really speak about that, no. So I'll find out. I don't really know much about that. I am not arguing that you can over the salaries. What I'm saying is, one of the meetings, and I'd have to pull it out, you had the wrong amount, is what you said. That's what I'm arguing. I'm not arguing that you pulled out Oprah salaries.
I couldn't promote, couldn't include.
You brought it up numerous times. One of the times it was very wrong. Thank you for mentioning about the forestry and the deer situation. That is the forester that we hired. All I can tell you about the MUA is they purchased that property. Eric, maybe you want to?
They purchased the property to build a treatment plant. I had mentioned it a couple of times during my report on the MUA. I can't remember specifically what the chemical is, but it's either PFAS or the 1,4-dioxane. So one of those two requires a treatment plant. Interestingly enough, they had gone through a siting study of saying, here's the places that really this treatment plant should have to go. And then at that point, one of those properties, the one on Ramapo Street, went on the market. So they just purchased it as a market purchaser rather than potentially acquiring it via eminent domain or anything like that. So that's why the MUA is taking ownership of that. There's going to be a new treatment plant being built there at some point.
Okay. Okay, motion to close the public session.
So moved.
Councilman Cruz, Council President Twine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Privilege of the floor. Any privilege of the floor?
The only thing I want to say is, Maria, congratulations on becoming the incoming president for the Pompano Lakes Women's Club.
Thank you.
Oh, we do have a closed session, right? We do have one closed session. So motion to adjourn into closed session.
Motion.
Okay.
Who was the motion? Councilman Bennett, Councilwoman Gilbert. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
Now what the recorder is on.
In closed session, we discussed personnel matters.
Okay, now we need a motion.
Motion to adjourn. Councilman Cruz,
Second.
Councilman Bennett.
You
Thank
want
you.
to cross the street?
Okay, just a minute.
So the question